Hey guys, welcome back to the Lake Norman Business Podcast. My name is Danny Decker, joined by Richie Peplin as always, and our guest today is Greg Prinz, the owner and lead videographer at Chapter 1 Films. So excited to talk to him. Before we dive into that, I want to take a moment and thank our sponsors. So the show today is brought to you by Excel Marketplace Breakfast, which is presented by New Song Church. Excel is a quarterly marketplace breakfast and a gathering for entrepreneurs, business leaders, and those looking to grow in leadership. You can learn more about Excel by visiting newsongchurch.org. And we're sponsored today by Chapter 1 Films, which is Greg's video production company. So Chapter 1 provides high quality video marketing services for business owners in the Charlotte and Lake Norman area. Their goal is to help businesses grow and tell their story more effectively using video. Visit chapter1films.biz to learn more. And so Greg is normally behind the camera. He produces these for us, and we figured we'd bring him out and let him share his video knowledge with the rest of the world. So Greg, welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me here, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit about Chapter 1 Films.
All right, well, you kind of, you said it all right there. Yeah, so we are a video production company here in Huntersville. We service, all of Charlotte, Lake Norman area, and we do primarily video marketing for companies, and whatever that looks like. And video marketing, as you guys know, it can look a lot different for different people.
Sure. So how did you get into video?
It started out as just kind of like a passion and a hobby in college. I would just record a lot of things, had a YouTube channel with some friends, and it was always about, getting more views. It was always about just making something that people wanted to see. And I was studying communication, so part of that went into it. I had a few classes that would task you with making a video and trying to get views for it. So I think that's kind of where the drive for the excitement, I guess, for making a video that people actually wanted to see started. But none of the technical skills were learned there. That all came afterwards. So I had this drive and this enjoyment for using cameras and trying to make something enjoyable for people that they'd want to see. And then after college, I started working for a video production company in Miami, actually, which is where I was born and raised. And that's where I learned how to be a little more professional
Sure.
about the videos I'm creating, but still brought with me the skills that I had built in college on how to make creative videos that people are actually going to want to pay attention to.
Yeah.
That's a really good point right there, because you can make a very professional video, but if it's not interesting, people won't watch it. You need to really understand what makes someone stick around to watch the video, not just have it really high quality and boring.
Right. No, it's absolutely true. I mean, think about your favorite YouTube videos. I mean, what videos? I can guarantee in your top 5 favorite YouTube videos, there are a few that are taken by a phone and some, like old grandmother is screaming at her grandchild or something, and it has nothing to do with the quality. But you're going to want to watch that, and you're going to tell your friends about it, and your friends' friends are going to tell their friends about it, and it's so it is super important about the content. I almost find that. Now that I am a professional, I don't know if I would say the content's more important than the quality, but it's definitely right. I mean, I would give it 50-50. I mean, if your quality is really bad, as you learn more about quality, like, you just be surprised at like how much subconsciously you look away from videos and how much more you're engaged when certain things are more appealing to you, the way it sounds, the way it looks. But yeah, the overall content just isn't good. I mean, you're right, it can look as professional as it needs to be, and it's just not going to change anything.
Yeah, and if you have a lot of choices on content, then the quality becomes more and more, right? So if what you're talking about, if you have different choices, then the quality is absolutely going to be so important, because you're going to go to the highest quality video.
Sure.
When it looks the best, when it's the best audio, because it's so much easier. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's hard, like sometimes you are trying to watch a video or listen to some audio, and if it's like choppy, it's kind of like a radio station that's not coming in.
Yeah.
You've got to switch it.
Yeah, that's right, man. No, it's one of those things that the more you learn about it, the more sensitive you become. So of course now it's like a pain to
Right.
watch poorly made videos.
Right.
It's like
We live in a world where everything's HD,
yeah, that's true.
so the expectations are high.
All right, so let's talk about video for like businesses. So let's just start with the basics, which is, so why should a business use video, like, in the first place?
Well, I mean, I could spare you like the list of statistics that would probably be in my favor for how much more engagement there is for video, other than like written content. But just like from a practical standpoint, I mean, if you guys both have been on social media, you have social media, I'm sure, Facebook, Instagram, something. I mean, can you even recall how many paragraphs of information you've just scrolled past? without even looking at it. But I mean, you could probably count maybe the number of videos you're passing, because you're gonna stop, you're gonna look at the picture, the description, and I mean, you'd probably even read what the video description is more likely than you'd read a status of something, right? Just because you're anxious to see if the video is entertaining, I'm gonna want to pay attention.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, like there's the clear, there's more engagement there, but I mean, we're in a day and age now where everybody thinks they're getting scammed. I mean, with the internet and everything, you can post
Yep.
whatever you want. I mean, you can just
You're
be
right.
like, hey, this product will like heal every ailment you ever have, and you're like, nah, I'm a little skeptical about that, right? So we feel like video is a little more authentic than just writing something, because it takes a little more. But even in video, this is the problem. That even in video is becoming so creative with camera tricks and stuff that people are skeptical about video. To where your first videos that were ever made for any kind of marketing or sales purposes were like infomercial videos, right? But these became like kind of disregarded because people are like, okay, you can do anything you want in a video. If you show a knife that's cutting through like a brick, like, I mean, like you can, I could do that right now, and it doesn't mean the knife can actually cut through a brick. So people are kind of throwing their hands up and like, you're clearly trying to sell me something. So really, the key with marketing through video is you want to make somebody look awesome, obviously, which is what can be done with really professionally high-grade video. But you need to make them look really authentic, which is the part that usually people get uncomfortable with, because a lot of people aren't comfortable on camera. They're like, oh, this is great, awesome, and you're like, yeah, you just got to come to your interview portion, and they're like, yeah, that's not going to happen. You know, like they instantly are like, I'm not going to be on camera. And which is where we come in. I mean, my job is to make somebody feel comfortable and to get that out of them. And then chop the video up and make them look a lot more comfortable and speak better. But at the same time, they need to bring that level of authenticity to the table. I mean, if they're sitting there, they have a professional salesperson come on camera, and he's going, "You're never gonna believe this," blah blah blah. Like, I think all of us can agree. Like, we tend to check out. Just that's who we are now.
Yeah.
We think we're getting scammed.
Yeah. It puts the defense mechanisms up like immediately.
Yeah.
You don't want anything to be too smooth.
Right.
You know,
Right.
too staged, too rehearsed, too professional, because that's the kind of a hallmark of what we consider to be a scam, right? Like
Sure.
that's the, you know.
No, and with video, like it's something that I've talked to Danny about before. I don't see video as a tool to sell anything. Like I see video as a tool to help somebody buy something. Like video is for your clients to help them purchase something, not for you to sell anything. You know, you should come across like, I have a solution for this problem, and if you're in need for it, like I'm here to help you. And
Yep.
video can allow you to get to your clients with that bridge. Like that's what the bridge it creates.
That's great, man. No, that's really good. I think that's really good. So you use video in a few different ways, right? So like, let's get practical. What types of videos should business owners use?
Oh, I mean, it's different for every person. I mean, so if you had somebody walk in and they're like, "Hey, listen, I've created this oil, and it will this is gonna make your whole life better, and it comes from this eucalyptus plant, and like this is what I want to sell." And you came to me, I'd be like, okay, the kind of marketing you're gonna need is gonna look a lot different than a lawyer that comes up and says, "Hi, I'm a lawyer," because everybody knows what a lawyer is. What he needs to do is separate himself. See, one of my favorite lawyers ever, now I'm just going to say my favorite lawyer ever, just because I don't personally know that many lawyers, is Brian Wilson. Have you ever heard of Brian Wilson? I know you've heard of Brian Wilson.
The Texas
told me
Law
about
Hawk.
him.
I told you about Brian Wilson.
told me
So
about
Brian
him.
Wilson is the Texas Law Hawk, right? He's just a normal lawyer, but he decided to make over-the-top YouTube videos of himself where he refers to himself as the Texas Law Hawk, and there's over the top, there's an eagle screeching in every single scene. He's riding a motorcycle. Every single scene he looks to the camera, points and says, "Brian Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk."
There's explosions
Yeah,
everywhere.
It's completely nonsense. But you think any other lawyer has these videos out there?
No,
No,
I don't.
and guess what? He created YouTube content that people are going, "Oh, look at this guy, he's hilarious. Look at this guy, he's hilarious." And now he's, just to give you a gauge of how successful he is, I mean, he had an ad in the Super Bowl like a couple years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy, and this is how he started. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to look a lot different for a lawyer or somebody that you kind of know what they're doing. If it's somebody that needs help telling their story, we do something like a business intro film, which is where we would kind of create that, like we talked about, the authentic kind of CEO explaining what it is that they do, what it is their company does, what sets them apart. If somebody was needing help in this area, how would you help them? Kind of like, so they're able to talk to the audience as if they're giving this advice. And we film B-roll of them doing these things, and so because videos like that, they tend to, I would say the threshold for a video where you're just looking at one person talking to the camera can't be any longer than like 60 to 90 seconds, right? Like, so your attention span for me just sitting here talking about video, like, can only last a certain amount of time before you're like, okay, I need to see something. So we believe that if a video crosses that to where you're making a 2-minute video or something, there needs to be more content on top. We need to put B-roll on there. We need to add some music. So this is what your business, your standard business intro film would be for your business owner that needs help kind of explaining what it is they do.
Sure.
And yeah, that looks a lot different for lawyers. Maybe lawyers need more informational tip videos. They need to be getting content out there, you know, all the time on Facebook and in their newsletters. And in that case, we would film tip videos or FAQ videos where they were able to just stare at the camera and give a couple of tips and some helpful things for their clients. And you build in some animations, bullet points and stuff like that, and we can do 15 or 20 of these, and they've got content for the next, if they're putting 1 out a week or 2 out a week, they've got content for the next 3 months. You know?
Yeah, well, and that's what you said earlier, right? Is now you've got all of this content that's like ammunition for social media, which put it on Facebook, put it on Twitter, and you're going to get such a higher engagement rate when it's video content instead of like blocks of text. And what I love about what you said is that so you're providing useful information, but you're also making the business owner look like an expert at the same time, right? So it's like, here, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know, and I'm going to make myself look great while doing it.
Yeah.
And so when you do, like when the customer is finally ready to hire somebody, they feel like they already have a relationship with you because they've seen your voice and read your body language and like heard your voice, you know?
Yeah, no, it's like that's one of the most important things with videos, because you have to understand it is a tool that's going to get you more views, right? So you have to, like, it's almost dangerous, right? Because if you make a horrible video, or you really communicate something that's not like that you don't want to communicate, then you've done a really poor job, because now everybody's looking at this more than they're looking at all your other stuff, and it was a poorly done video, right? So the looking like a professional, that's where it comes into what does the video look like? I mean, if I can make a person or whoever you're using for video content can make you look really, you know, really sharp, and they're controlling the lighting, the audio, like this stuff isn't amateur in any way. There's no clear I did this on my phone. The camera's not shaky, which, I mean, like, there are enough tips I could give for somebody to do that on their own to where it would look better, which I do, because I'm like, I just hate looking at bad videos. So like, let me at least tell you how to do it on your own if you are going to where it's not that horrible. And yeah, like that's where people don't subconsciously, you have more comfortability with somebody when you see them in a video that's really, really professionally made. It's not only, it's like wearing a suit, right? It's not only that, hey, this person can afford a suit, but they're professional enough to present themselves in front of me in a really, really professional manner, looking nice. They took the time to do that. They weren't just like, hey, I need video content, let me spend no time and energy or money on this and make a really bad video, as opposed to, I really care about what I'm getting out there. I really care about getting this to you and helping you out, helping you buy something, that I'm going to spend time and money and do this. It needs to look like that.
Love it. Love it. So what do you tell a business owner who is like anxious? You mentioned earlier some people are, you know, uncomfortable on camera. They don't feel like they're just camera shy or whatever.
Right.
How do you help somebody get over that? Or what would you tell somebody who's at home watching this thinking like, I could never get on camera?
Well, I would tell them that like, people that know video are that, like, that's probably the biggest gap between doing a video yourself and having a professional come in and do it, is that's kind of their job, is to make you look really, really good. Now, I could probably give zero advice and still make somebody look reasonably, you know, like speak much better than they do actually in person, just in my editing expertise. But when I'm in person, a lot of it is just making it more conversational. There are 2 ways you can generally shoot somebody speaking about some kind of content, right? So you can have them look directly in the camera. Maybe this is a little more old school. They read off of a teleprompter and they kind of speak a script to you, right? So they say, so you want to address the audience and you say, you've got to have this because it's blah, blah, blah. This is what I do. And that becomes a lot harder for people because, one, I mean, when's the last conversation you've had to a camera? Like, was it great? I mean, I've never had a conversation with a camera before. They don't talk back. So like, that's already a hard situation to do. But the other way you can film them is looking off camera. So where, if this is the camera, I'm staring right at it, I'd be looking directly to the right of it. And that's where I would be sitting, and I would be talking to you. Now this is always prompted by questions. So if you say, hey, I really want to talk about how fast my company gets content out to people. Let's say you sell some kind of objects, right? I would say, I wouldn't have you sit here and just read me off a bunch of facts, because that's not how you talk to people. I would ask you a question. I'd be like, okay, what's like one of your best assets as a company? What really sets you apart? And you look at me and you say, man, we are so fast at doing these things. We blah, 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 blah. And you go through all these different things. And it would be my job then to make that look like you're just talking to me and you're just giving me information as opposed to answering a question. because I need to cut me answering that question out of it. So like they're surprised at how comfortable they look when they're having a conversation with an actual person as opposed to speaking to a camera. So that's usually like how we bridge that gap of somebody coming in and being a little bit nervous, is I'm like, I set up all this stuff, I don't even want you to look at it. Just look at me the whole time and we're just gonna talk. And sometimes they don't even know if I'm recording. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, how about this question? And they say, oh, well, I'm gonna wanna talk about this, this, and that, and about how important it is that our clients get this, and how comfortable they need to feel because of this. And I sit there, I'm like, all right, we're done. I got it all. I'm gonna edit that, and it's gonna be beautiful. And 100% of the time when I get that product to them, they're like, "Wow, I did not know I sounded that good." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's video, man."
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so for the business owner out there who doesn't have the budget yet to work with you or work with a professional, but they want to do the I can do it on my phone thing, like to help you make like Facebook a less ugly place with terrible videos, what tips can you give to them? So if you are going to do it yourself, how can you make your videos not terrible so they don't hurt Greg?
Sure. Well, I'm just going to assume if you're doing it yourself, like there isn't any kind of video expertise background. Like you're not going to be sitting there editing in a big editing program, and you're going to be throwing in music and all this other stuff. I'm just going to make it really simple and say, if you're going to film something, like the two biggest things that I think draw people's attention that you don't think about when you don't understand video is audio and lighting. So lighting is key because you really want to focus, like you want what needs to be focused on, right? So if I stand and there's a light behind me and I'm this dark shadowy figure and I'm talking the whole time, like that's just like it's just painful for me to see. And I mean, maybe it's not as painful as for most people, but subconsciously you're saying the same thing. You're like, man, I'd much rather see this person, right? So my first tip would be get in front of a window. Natural light is beautiful. If you don't have a window, if it's late, whatever the case is, get in front of a light. Put a light behind the camera shining on you, right? And you're going to be looking in the camera, so don't worry about blinding yourself, but get a light behind the camera. The second thing is audio. Now, most phones now, I mean, you are right. Most phones record in 4K, which, I mean, people just hear the word 4K and they think that they're a video expert. They're like, oh, my phone records in 4K. I'm like, do you understand? Like, most television screens everywhere aren't 4K. Like, nobody's going to see the difference in resolution. Anyways, but so phones are a good source of video content. It is okay to film with your phone, but I would say if you're going to use your phone microphone, like, make sure you're in a room with nobody else, the doors are closed, and everybody else in the house is quiet. Because, I mean, there's a huge step between recording with a mic, even for my camera. We're not using camera mics right now. We've all got our little handy-dandy lapel lavalier mics going on here. You can buy a phone lavalier mic for $9 on Amazon. It won't be that great, but it'll be way better than your phone audio. So you plug it into your phone, you'll hook it up to your shirt here, and you'll talk to the phone with a light source behind it, and that alone is going to add like $500 of value to your video content. I mean, like it's going to cost you what, like $15. Maybe if you want to get a tripod for your phone to make sure you can set it up, maybe that's another $10-20. I don't know, but like so you spend $30, and now all of your videos that you're putting out on your own, if you insist on doing this, are going to look that way.
And you're a happier person because
there's
a few less terrible videos out there.
I don't have to watch your terrible videos.
It's probably a slippery slope because now they're going to start to appreciate good videos. And then they're going to find out that they hit a point where they can't do it on themselves, and then they come to you. So really, you're just kind of getting them started. Like it's almost like, well, okay, you can have, we'll start you out on the cheap way and start to appreciate things, and then we're going to just keep moving up until you end up at my vineyard.
You're ruining my plan here, Richie. Now they all know they're not going to do it. No, but it is true, and it is a way to appreciate it, because even just doing what I talked about, people probably aren't going to do that most of the time. Like they won't. They're not going to want to think about it. I mean, they're going to also realize that even if you were just to take a video from your phone, try to convert it into a file that's going to work well on Facebook, which I'm sure most people don't know about. Getting it uploaded or getting on some kind of plan where you're uploading these things regularly, people just don't want to do that. I mean, that's zero editing. That's zero working on the actual set, working on like the venue where you're going to be filming, working on any of the editing, which is the long part. And that's taking away all that. People still aren't going to want to do it. So if you get somebody that's willing to finally do that, it is the point that they're going to go, man, I imagine if I wanted to put any more effort into this, how hard it would be. Right. There are people that do this like professionally that I could get,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, realistically, if it was that easy and you could get the same results if you showed up with a lavalier and you stood over there with your phone, you'd be doing that.
Sure.
Right. Right. No, there's a reason you go to a lawyer when you need legal help. There's a reason you go to an accountant when you need accounting done. And if there's a reason if you want to have video done, you shouldn't just think you can do it yourself. You should find a video professional, because it really does matter. The quality matters, and like you said, professionalism is just a big deal.
Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming in, and thanks for your help producing all of these episodes. This entire season has been produced by this guy, so thanks a lot.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me.